Hi everyone, welcome to UPSC Nexus. In our previous classes, we have completed these topics. Those that is microeconomics, utility, law of diminishing marginal utility, factors of production, production possibilities curve, laws of demand, determinants of law of demand, and type of goods like complementary goods, substitute goods, Veblen Giffen, normal goods, luxury, and necessary goods. Right, and also we have completed UPSC PYQs regarding this of CSC, CAPF, and CDS, right? And today we will be discussing one more important topic, that is elasticity, price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and cross elasticity of demand. So I'll basically say you how we will be studying this. So we'll be studying using graphical method, because this is logical and never goes wrong. ठीक है? And once you understand this, you will remember forever. Okay? No need to mug up anything here, right? So we'll start now. Yeah. So first of all, I want to ask you, what is elasticity? Or I'll give an example. Take an normal rubber band, right? So consider this as a normal rubber band, right? So when you apply force, it gets stretched, right? If you apply even more force, it gets too much stressed. I mean, stretched, or right? It gets stretched. So this degree of stretchedness is nothing but elasticity. If it gets stretched mediumly, it is called as medium elastic. If it is stretched too much, it is called highly elastic, right? But to make this elastic, we have to apply force, right? In this case, you are applying mechanical force through our hand, right? But in the same analogy, we are studying law of demand, right? So this means how demand changes to force applied. So what are these forces? There are three forces. One is income, one is price, and another is cross elasticity. Right? These are the three forces or three factors which affect the elasticity of the demand. Okay? So basically we'll be understanding what is elasticity. Elasticity is nothing but degree of response when you put a force on it. That's it. For example, in real life, we will take an example of rubber band. This is the ideal situation. When we apply less force, it will stretch very less, minimally. When we apply too much force, it gets more elastic, right? In the same way, in economics, forces that affect decision to buy, that is demand, are price, income, and price of other products. Therefore, the effect of force of price is nothing but price elasticity of demand. Effect of income is known as income elasticity of demand, and price of other goods, effect of change of price of other goods, is called as cross elasticity of demand. Okay, so first we will be understanding price elasticity of demand. See, just break down the word here. So price, so price is the force here. Elasticity is nothing but responsiveness. Responsive nothing but quantity demanded, right? So change in quantity demanded with change in price, मतलब अगर थोड़ा चेंज प्राइस चेंज होने पे कितना डिमांड चेंज होगा, ठीक है? इफ यू अप्लाई लेस if there is less change in price, and if there is less change in quantity demanded, then it is less elastic. Likewise, see, first we will write a formula: price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand is nothing but change in quantity demanded when there is a change in price, and both are expressed in percentage terms. Okay, so we have discussed previously about luxury goods and necessary goods in the previous class, right? So now consider a luxury good, like consider an iPhone. Okay, earlier iPhones were consider it could be a 50,000, right? At that time, people used to demand, let's say, 1,000 phones, but suddenly during big billion days or something we got suddenly 40,000, 10,000 decrease. At that time the demand which was usually 1,000 leads to 3,000 demand, right? So this is, there is more elasticity, so there is more elasticity, right? So demand responds to the price change, right? When there is price change from 50,000 to 40,000, the demand also change, right? So therefore this is elastic. Okay, and now comes the second part, that is necessary goods. Consider like rice or wheat. Okay, so first, uh, price of one rice kg was 40 rupees. Now it has become 80 rupees. Earlier people used to consume 1000 kgs. Now maybe slightly lesser, 950 kgs, because this is necessary, right? So demand does not respond too much. There is very slight response. Therefore price elasticity of demand is less than 1. Okay, so it is therefore called as inelastic, right? So I hope you understood the price elasticity of demand, that is change in quantity demanded with change in price. Okay, so price elasticity is greater than 1 for elastic, that is change in demand is more than change in price. And next comes here perfectly inelastic. Inelastic मतलब जितना भी force apply करो there will be no change in quantity demanded. For example, मान लिए we have cancer treatment drugs. मान लिए cancer treatment drug था पहले 100 rupees or now 1000 rupees. So even then quantity demanded will not change, because people want to live, survive, right? So quantity demanded does not change at all with change in price. So therefore it is called as perfectly inelastic. Therefore price elasticity of demand is 0. That means whatever may be the change in price, the quantity demand change in quantity demand is 0, because the quantity demanded is same. Therefore it is perfectly inelastic. And now comes perfectly elastic. See, you go to airport or somewhere, there are two counters, counter A and counter B. You need to convert your rupee into dollar. So when you give $1, a counter A gives rupees 94, and we go to counter B, $1 gives 85 rupees, right? So everyone goes to counter A, right? So if there is very small change in price, the quantity demanded almost becomes 0, right? So at this given price, quantity demanded is there. At any other given price, there is no quantity demanded, right? So quantity demanded responds perfectly to price. Okay, I'll summarize once again. So first is elastic goods. Elastic goods are those in which there is change in quantity of demanded when there is change in price. Inelastic good, there is no such change in demand when there is change in price. These are necessary goods. Okay, those are inelastic goods. And next comes perfectly inelastic. Whatever may be the change in price, quantity demanded will be same. There is no change in quantity demanded, so PD is 0. Another comes perfectly elastic. Even if there is a small variation of change in price, people will stop purchasing it. Okay, so we'll again go for next topic, that is implication of this price elasticity. See, total revenue is price of a unit into number of units sold. Okay, for example, मान लिए one pizza is sold for 200 rupees. Total revenue is one pizza into 200 rupees, that is 200 rupees. If you sell 3 pizzas for 150 rupees, 3 into 150, so total revenue is 450 rupees. Okay, so now we will understand applications of this price change. Okay, so first we will go for inelastic good, that is there is no or very less change. See, consider earlier price of a good was 100 rupees. There was 20 units of quantity demanded, so total revenue was 2000. And case 2 was price becomes higher, 150 rupees, and quantity demanded almost remains same, so total revenue is 1800. These are inelastic good, that is less responsive to price change. And then comes elastic good, there is more responsiveness to the price change. For example, मान लिया पहला था प्राइस 100 रुपीज़, क्वान्टिटी डिमांडेड वॉज 20 यूनिट्स. केस 2 हो गया, प्राइस चेंज हो गया 80 रुपीज़ का और क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड बहुत बढ़ गया, सो टोटल रेवेन्यू इंक्रीज हियर, right? So there is more responsiveness to price change. These are elastic goods. And there are unit elastic goods. देखिए प्राइस था 100 रुपीज़, 20 यूनिट्स डिमांड हो रहा था, फिर प्राइस हो गया 50 रुपीज़, 40 यूनिट्स हो गया, टोटल रेवेन्यू 2000 हो गया. सेकंड केस में टोटल रेवेन्यू 2000 हो गया. देयर इज नो चेंज इन रेवेन्यू. दिस केस इज नोन एज यूनिट इलास्टिक गुड्स. ओके, नाउ आई विल गिव यू सिचुएशन. मान लिया आप गवर्नमेंट हो और आप और किसी गुड्स पे टैक्स करना है. देर आर इलास्टिक गुड्स, देर आर inelastic goods. Which one do you want to tax? See, let's consider both situation. देखिए, let's first go for elastic good. Right, for example, government has increased a tax of 25% from 200 rupees to 250 rupees. पहले था 5 टिकट डिमांड, अब हो गया 2 टिकट डिमांड. टोटल रेवेन्यू पहले 1000 रुपीज़ था, अब हो गया 500 रुपीज़. सो टोटल रेवेन्यू डिक्रीज, therefore total revenue also get decreased. So this is not ideal to tax. और एक है inelastic goods. सो मान लीजिए पहले गवर्नमेंट ने टैक्स बढ़ा दिया अल्कोहल पे, फिर भी लोग खरीदता है क्योंकि वो एडिक्टिव चीज़ है. देयरफॉर demand will not change, it will be almost same. Therefore total revenue also gets increased, tax revenue also increased. Therefore government always chooses to tax on elastic goods, inelastic goods, sorry, those which have less response to change in price. Okay, ओके, अब हो गया प्राइस इलास्टिसिटी डिमांड खत्म हो गया. अब वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट डिटर्मिनेंट्स, मतलब क्या क्या चीज़ है वो डिटरमिन करता है कि प्राइस इलास्टिसिटी डिमांड क्या होता है. नंबर ऑफ सब्स्टिट्यूट्स. देखिए, फॉर एग्जांपल आपके पास बहुत सारा सब्स्टिट्यूट्स है. मान लिए फॉर एग्जांपल गुड इज कॉफ़ी, सो यू हैव टी, ग्रीन टी, ब्लैक टी. Right, so if a good has many substitutes, it will be elastic because people can easily shift from coffee to tea or green tea or black tea, right? If there are no alternatives, it will be inelastic. Okay, so next comes addictive products. मान लीजिए alcohol, cigarettes, whatever may be the chain price, it will be inelastic, right? Then comes luxury goods. When there is small change in price but demand will surge very high, for example iPhone sale during big billion days, right? These are elastic products. Then comes necessary goods, for example rice. Even when there is a very huge change in price but demand change is almost negligible, therefore these are inelastic. Next आता है टाइम पीरियड. मान लीजिए गवर्नमेंट ने बोलता है कि प्राइस ऑफ पेट्रोल हैज़ बिकम 100 to 500. यू विल वेट फॉर 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, prices does not change. What will you do? You will adopt either to EV vehicles or you will start using metro, right? So if there is more time, people will find substitutes or learn to adopt without it. That is, when the petrol prices increase for a long duration, people will start using EV vehicles or public transports, right? Another comes proportion of income. मान लीजिए प्राइस ऑफ एयरलाइन टिकट्स पहले था 10,000, अब हो गया 5 लाख. ठीक है, अर्लियर मान लीजिए यू एंड अंबानी का कोई डिफरेंस नहीं होता है क्योंकि उनका मनी करोड़ों में है. सो इफ़ ही स्पेंड 1 lakh or 15, it doesn't matter him. Therefore for him it is inelastic. But for common man like you and me, quantity demanded will get reduced. Therefore we'll find alternative like train or bus, right? So same good may be inelastic or elastic based on the proportion of income. ठीक है, so here we complete price elasticity of demand. इसमें लग्जरी गुड और नेसेसरी गुड और परफेक्टली इनएलास्टिक और परफेक्टली इलास्टिक हो गया. और इसका अप्लीकेशंस और किस चीज़ पे टैक्स रहना चाहिए, इनएलास्टिक गुड पे और इलास्टिक गुड पे, ये भी हम समझा लिया. फिर इसका डिटरमिनेंट्स हो गया. नाउ वी विल डिस्कस क्रॉस इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड. क्रॉस मतलब डिफरेंट, मतलब अनरिलेटेड काइंड ऑफ थिंग. ठीक है, चेंज इन क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड to the change in related product price. मान लीजिए we have tea, coffee, sugar. First we will consider substitute goods like tea and coffee. If there is increase in price of tea, we will start consuming less tea and we will start consuming more coffee. Therefore when price of tea increases, demand for coffee also increases. Therefore cross elasticity of demand is positive for substitute goods. समझ गए? देखिए, I'll repeat once again. See, we have tea and coffee. Price of tea has increased from 10 to 100 rupees. What happens then? We will shift to coffee. Therefore demand, earlier coffee 100 people used to have coffee, now 200 people will have coffee. Therefore when there is increase in price of tea, people will demand more coffee, therefore it is positive. We have positive cross elasticity of demand, therefore for substitute goods cross elasticity of demand is positive. नेक्स्ट आता है कॉम्प्लीमेंट गुड्स, फॉर एग्जांपल टी एंड शुगर. मान लीजिए शुगर है आज 50 रुपीज़, हो गया 5000 रुपीज़, तब क्या हो जाता है, डिमांड फॉर टी विल डिक्रीज. देयरफॉर व्हेन देयर इज चेंज इन प्राइस ऑफ शुगर, quantity of tea demanded will reduce, therefore it is negative. Therefore cross elastic demand is positive for substitute goods and negative for complement goods. So this is very important, UPSC has asked many times, right? So next will come income elasticity. वर्ड ब्रेकडाउन कर दीजिए. सो इनकम चेंज करने पर डिमांड कैसे चेंज होता है, बस इनकम एलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड इज व्हेन देयर इज चेंज इन कंज्यूमर इनकम, व्हाट इज द चेंज इन क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड. पहला होता है लग्जरी गुड. देखिए पहले आपका सैलरी था मान लीजिए 1 लाख, नाउ योर सैलरी इज मान लीजिए 1 करोड़. व्हाट विल यू डू, फर्स्ट अर्लियर यू यूज्ड टू हैव 2 phones मान लीजिए, नाउ यू कैन हैव 10 iPhones, right? So for luxury goods, as income increases, quantity demanded also will increase, therefore income elasticity of demand for luxury goods are very high, more than 1. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट आता है नेसेसरी गुड्स. मान लीजिए फॉर एग्जांपल राइस और व्हीट, पहले आप खरीदते थे 10 किलो पर मंथ, अब आपके पास बहुत पैसे है फिर भी आप मैक्सिमम 15 to 20 kgs खरीदोगे. ये नहीं कि आपके पास ज़्यादा मनी है सो यू विल स्टार्ट कंज्यूमिंग 10 to 1000 kilos ऑफ राइस, राइट? So when there is increase in income, of course there is increase in demand but not very high, therefore it is less than 1. And then are the inferior goods. When your income increases, quantity demanded for kerosene, roadside clothes will reduce, of course you will choose better options, right? So when there is increase in income, quantity demanded for inferior goods such as kerosene and roadside clothes will reduce, therefore income elasticity for inferior goods are negative. Okay, you just remember this diagram enough. So we have income elasticity, we have see for inferior goods income elasticity is negative because as you earn more you will prefer less inferior goods. Okay, then we have normal goods. In normal goods also we have 2 types, necessary goods and luxury goods. Luxury goods आप ज़्यादा कमाते हो तो आप ज़्यादा खरीदते हो, ठीक है. बट नेसेसरी गुड्स आप ज़्यादा कमाते हो फिर भी आप ज़्यादा खरीदते हो बट इतना ज़्यादा नहीं है, ठीक है. सो इट इज़ इनकम इन एलास्टिक एंड दिस इज इनकम एलास्टिक, ठीक है. सो वी हैव कंप्लीटेड इनकम एलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड, ठीक है. सो हियर वी एंड द डिटेल्ड notes of the same has been uploaded in our YouTube channel. Thank you so much.